It's not shirk, by the way. Don't worry. For you to believe the Qur'an is going to aid me in my exams, Qur'an is a sifa from sifatillah. This brain is limited of ours. It's not like you're going to finish the Qur'an. I'm a hafid. I'm done. I'm never going to... No. As the Salaf used to say, free time is one of the biggest calamities that someone can have. I finished Quran at 17, so 16, 17. So that I finished it just as I was finishing my GCSEs / entering college. Yeah, sixth form, basically. That's when I completed the Quran. So my actual hifz was from year 10 to year 30, year 10 to year 12. It's 3 years. Around that period, that was my hifz time. And then year 13, all the way to uni, that was my revision period. So 3 years of uni plus a year of year 13, around 4 years. I was focusing on just rememorizing for the second time, making it stronger and stuff like that. And my schedule and how I did it and everything was the same throughout. So I think that would be good, inshallah. I had done a khatma, but I've never come across someone who has done his first khatma of the Quran and they knew the Quran perfectly. I don't know of anyone who's done that. Is it possible? Absolutely yes. Is it harder? Yes. Will you memorize it in a slower time frame? Yes. But I haven't come across that person. And the norm is that you memorize the Quran within 3 years or so. Again, that's the average, I think. And then some do slightly less, some do slightly more, but that's the average. And then you'd go over the Quran a second and third time. Probably the third time that you finish the Quran, it might be proper strong. It's never strong the first time. To be honest, it's a mistake that a lot of people do where they would memorize the Quran, as in they would be on the 7th, 8th juz. Then they would just stop and say, I'm going to revise, because I'm continuing and my Quran is weak. And then they're on the 7th juz for 2-3 years. And then they will continue. When they get to the 15th juz, I need to stop now. They revise. Maybe 2 years again, they're just on that surah. By the time that they've been revising, they memorized the first 7 ajza that they made strong has become weak now as well. So they say, no, I need to go back to the 7 ajza. I've seen this very, very, very often. Some people get to the last hurdle. They're on the 24th, 25th juz of the Quran. I've forgotten everything. How on earth can I continue memorizing when everything else I'm forgetting and it's so weak? So then they go all the way back. And then what they're doing now, they spend another year and a half or something rememorizing those 25 juz'at. And then when they get to the 25th juz'at again, it's gone weak. I know people like this. 7, 8, 9 years they've been on the same surah and they're just about to finish. So that's not the best way to do it unless you think different. And people need to remember as well, the Quran is going to be forever a reviewing anyway for you. You're not going to be, it's not like you're going to finish the Quran, I'm a hafid, I'm done, I'm never going to, no. The Quran is a life journey. You're going to be reviewing it anyway. So the best thing is to get over the last hurdle, get over that, last bit of the Quran. Once you finish, you're going to go again for a second time and a third time. And if you're someone who loves the Quran, you're going to be reading to someone for the rest of your life. So first of all, my Quran was very weak the first time. It was very, very weak. But what I think would be best is let me take a step back, year 10, 11, and when I was actually memorizing, what was my schedule like? Because it's the same when I also finished. So what my schedule used to look like from year 10, 11, 12, when I was actively memorizing the Quran. Year 9 actually, add year 9 to it as well. Before school, so school would start 8:30, I think, 8:15ish, something like that. Before school, I would do an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes of memorization, 5 days a week, just before school. Because sometimes it would be after Fajr if it's winter time. But then if it's summertime, then it would probably not be after Fajr. But just generally it would be an hour and 45 minutes before school would be my sitting down, nitty and gritty hard work of actually memorizing. That'd be my memorization time. After that, I'd go to school. School, I'm there from 8:30 or so till 3:30 p.m. approximately. During this period, I'd be not doing any Qur'an. Of course, I've got classes and whatever, so I would be doing 0 Qur'an then. When I come back home, this was, by the way, from, as I said, this is the time that I was memorizing the Qur'an. When I come back home, I would review / re-memorize what I'd done that morning for about 45 minutes. Again, I'm not putting a time to it. It would just be post-school. And then last but not least, before I go to sleep, for half an hour, I would prepare what I'm going to memorize for the next morning. That was my day. In total, I was doing around 2.5 hours per day of Quran-related stuff, basically. I never had a wird. Again, that was just me memorizing. I didn't really have a wird. I didn't do too much daily reading and stuff like that. I was memorizing, reading to my teacher, memorizing, reading to my teacher. On weekends, I would revise some things that I memorized, but it wouldn't be structured necessarily. I started off memorizing 2-3 lines a day. We're talking like Botini wa Zaytun, for example, or Wal Asr, like small amounts. Then after 6 to 8 months, it got to half a page. After a year or so, I'd say I was memorizing just under a page. After a year and a half, I was memorizing 1 page per day. So per week, I was memorizing 5 pages, which isn't that much, to be honest. I'd say it's a good amount. For me to memorize 1 page, I would need 2 full hours. Other people used to do like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I could never do that. For me to read One page is 15 lines, by the way. For me to memorize one page in that morning, I would need 2 full hours. And I physically wouldn't be able to do it in less than that. Weak was my brain strong? I don't know what it was. When I finished the Quran, now I will go into the reviewing phase, rememorizing. I basically done the same thing. But instead of me doing it before 8 a.m., you have a lot of free slots in sixth form. So 3 days of the week, I think I'll start in like 11 a.m. or something. Sometimes 12, sometimes 1:30 p.m. And then the days that I start early, 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m., I would be finishing early. So I'm done by like 12. So I was doing the same thing as before, but instead of me doing it before school, I would basically do my memorization. The days that I had free slots in my sixth form timetable, I would memorize, for example, from like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 12, for example. I'd re-memorize. But now I was doing slightly more because I finished the Quran by now. So instead of me doing half a page, I can do 2 pages within those 2 hours and make them solid. And then sometimes the days that I have an early start, I'll just do it when I'm back in the evening, basically, or afternoon. But now I started to really put effort in having a wird where I would try to read every day wonders of the Qur'an. That's what I was sticking to the majority of the time. That was my schedule generally. And do you know what's funny, by the way? I actually think people in school / sixth form, or even uni, because even uni I was still doing what I just told you now. I actually think they are in a better position to memorize the Qur'an. You're thinking, what? How? I believe full on. I mean it, wallah. People that are doing GCSEs, as in like they're in school, or they're in sixth form, they're doing their A-levels, or they're in uni doing a degree, I don't know how they believe that they are in a better position to memorize the Quran in comparison to someone who's not doing any of that and he's just free the whole day. Do you know why? And I experienced this. I actually took a gap year as well, by the way. And that gap year was in the name of I need to make my Quran strong and study the deen and all that other stuff, but it's rubbish. The reason I believe this is when you are in school or sixth form or uni, you have certain hours of the day that are blocked out. You cannot do anything else apart from going to your lectures. The time that you have remaining, you make it more incumbent upon yourself and you force yourself somewhat to fit those slots in, basically. Basically, your schedule is more organized for you by default. You're not going to be like, I wake up and be like, when should I memorize? You're not going to think about that because no, you need to be in uni from this time to this time. So you're not going to memorize that time. So then you'll say, you know what, cool, I'll memorize before it, after it, these hours, whatever. You're a lot more organized. Someone who isn't doing that and they have a gap year, for example, what happens to them? They'll wake up in the morning, I've got the whole day free. Procrastinate. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go gym. And then I'm going to do it. Come back, I'm tired. You're like, you know what? I've got like 6 hours left of the day. No, I'll do it then. All over the place. As the Salaf used to say, free time is one of the biggest calamities that someone can have. Don't ever think to yourself because you have free time, you're more productive, or because you have free time, you're going to be able to get more done. The reality is you're probably not. When you're busy and occupied, you have this remaining. Same with everything else, by the way. If you have gym, for example, goals and fitness goals and stuff like that, if you're doing 9 to 5, you can only go gym from 6, 7, 8 a.m. because you have to go work 9 a.m. Unless you do it then, it'll be all sweaty and stuff. Or you have it in the evening. If you're memorizing Qur'an, you can only do it in the evening before you go to sleep or early morning. And then also you're going to utilize the weekends because now you see I've got 2 days where I'm fully free. I'm going to make sure I do this. So that's my belief, and that's from experiment, as I said again, real life experience and people that I've seen and myself as well. I think it's a mental thing. I'm sure psychologists have theories and stuff about it. I'm just talking about experience. You have to get done. I've got 2 hours and then I've got this to do and that to do and X, Y, and Z to do. You appreciate the time more, you put more effort in, your brain would just, I think it's the best thing possible. Even with students of knowledge, for example, you have uni right now in Medina, for example, you have uni from 8 a.m. to like 1 p.m. The days that it's a weekend, I'll be honest with you, 8 to 1, you're like, what should I fill it in with? You're like, I'm going to memorize this, but then you wake up, you're like, I deserve a little bit of sleep. But for the rest of the week, when you're in uni from 8 to 1, you're thinking, you know what? I need a good 2 hours before this. So you go to the Prophet's Masjid, memorize, do this, After that, you say, I'm going to take a nap and then do X, Y, and Z. It's so much easier, a lot much easier. Without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely.
Do you think, I've spoken to a lot of people that say there's 2 camps. There's a camp that of concerned parents that if their child memorizes the Qur'an during GCSEs, A-levels and uni, they're going to flop their exams and academics. And there's a camp of the Qur'an refines your intelligence, refines your brain, refines your mind, puts barak in your time. What was your experience though?
I'm part of the second camp. When I actually took a break during exam periods was when I was more exhausted, tired. I couldn't revise as much. I was more stressed and everything else. That's the time that it was more of an issue. But now, and even before when I learned from that mistake, definitely, man, the second camp are, I would say they're true, inshallah. Their theory is a lot more truer. The Quran comes with barakah. Allah told us, of course. But again, through experience, I think definitely the times that I read the Quran, had my exams, it made better. Also, your actual brain, energy and your brain strength. Brothers that have memorized the Quran and are memorizing the Quran, generally, of course, again, this is not, one rule. Generally, they do better in exams. I have not come across a hafidh who actually revises for exams as well, by the way. You're not going to just memorize the Quran and then go to exams and write ayat of the Quran in the exam and then pass it. That's not how it works. The examiner doesn't know the Quran and they're probably not going to be a fan of the Quran. So I have not come across a brother who's memorizing or has memorized the Quran and not done well in their GCSEs, A-levels or their actual degree. I haven't come across it, and at the same time studied well for their actual degree or their A-levels and etc. So I think it definitely helps. Allah will aid the person. Allah will put barakah in time. Kitabun anzalnahu ilaykum mubarakun liyadabbaru ayati. The Quran is a book which is blessed. This barakah that comes in blessing your time. It won't increase the time, but it will bless the time in it. It won't increase your intelligence, but it will bless your intelligence, that you'll be able to pick up things. It won't increase your memorization, but it will put barakah in that memorization that you can do. You're not going to have 25 hours in a day. You're not. But that time, that 24 hours in a day, will have more barakah. So it will feel like it, and you'll be able to do more, etc., etc. Wallahi, you can't go wrong with what I did, man. Honestly, and I'm not saying this to praise myself or anything like that. Even if you're not memorizing the Quran, I think you should try to memorize the Quran. But even if you're not, let your day always begin with a portion of the Quran that you recite. And you literally cannot go wrong. This is universal for everyone, by the way. 9 to 5 worker, university student, for any human being who's a Muslim. You can't go wrong 1 hour before whatever activity you have first in the day. Read a portion of the Quran. If it's not an hour, do half an hour. Who can go wrong? Who can come up with an excuse and say, I'm too busy? You're not busy because you go work at night, you start work at 9 a.m. Half an hour before that, just read 1 juz of the Quran. That's it. So you can't go wrong with that. Another thing you can't go wrong with is half an hour before you sleep. Who can go wrong with that? Who can say to you, I don't sleep though? No one's going to say, I don't sleep. So I believe 7 days of the week, if you're doing half an hour before school, college, uni, and half an hour before you go to sleep, Insha'Allah ta'ala, you're on a good path of your journey with the Quran, and it will aid you. You'll see, it will aid you with your studies as well.
So when you wake up in the morning before work and you open your phone, no one's saying don't open your phone, but instead of pressing Instagram,
open Tarteel. Start reading. If you memorize the Quran, you don't need to get out of bed. If you're really, really lazy, open your phone, open Tarteel. Start reciting whatever you've memorized. If you haven't memorized, inshallah, use the actual mushaf on there as well.
You can actually memorize the Quran in a seating position, in a lying down as well. I know that there's a hadith of Prophet reciting on the lap of Aisha radiallahu anha.
Correct. And a lot of Sahaba done it as well. A lot of Sahaba done it. I believe it was Abdullah ibn Mubarak. He was lying on the lap of his wife as well. And he started to cry. And then she started to cry as well. And then she asked, why are you crying? And then he said, because I remembered the verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as I was reciting, وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَىٰ رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا. Speaking about the bridge, Allah said, indeed, every single one of you will cross the bridge. He said, I was reciting this verse and I just started to cry. And then she started to cry because he started to cry. So yeah, Sahaba and Tabi'een were like that, Atba'u Tabi'een as well, etc. If you're lying down, sitting down, there's no limitations to it. SubhanAllah, I don't think it's practical to tell people to completely abandon their phone and get rid of it. I actually tried it once in Medina. And I got in my car. As soon as I got in my car, I got my phone out to put the maps in. I'm like, where the heck am I going to go? So even getting from A to B is connected to our phone now. As I said, that 30 minutes before school, uni, college, and that 30 minutes before you go to sleep, keep it. Little do you know, those butterflies that you feel from exam stress and the kicking in, the Quran will uplift that. And this is from experience, wallahi, wallahi. Just reading the Quran. You don't know what it means, you don't know what it's saying, but purely reciting it will just uplift everything. You'll be like, I'm ready to go into this exam. So don't cut it out. You think it's exam season now, so I'm going to stop the Quran, I need to focus more. This is tangible means. The tangible means for you to pass is to stop the Quran and then put more effort in exams. But there's spiritual means. The unseen that we don't see. There's certain things we can't see, right? The Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us brings that barakah. So just because logically it might not make sense to you, mathematically, I could be spending 30 minutes revising for my exams. This brain is limited of hours. What I would say, exam season, do not cut it out. Don't listen to shaitan. Don't go that route. Still read the Quran with the aim of Allah making it easy for you, with the aim of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supporting you, with the aim of the Quran supporting you. The Quran is Mubarak. Mubarak means it will aid you in your exams. It's not shirk, by the way. Don't worry. For you to believe the Quran is going to aid me in my exams, the Quran is a sifa from sifatillah. Sah wala la? It's like one of the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah told us that will aid you. So I personally believe you shouldn't cut it out. If you want to be what they would call the madman, even increase your recitation of the Quran during that time. But if you don't have that certainty that will aid you, I would say, just so you have some confidence, stick to the time that you already recited, inshallah.